Good morning, viewers. It's good to have you join us this beautiful morning. Welcome to Oweleketv. This is Outnumbered, where we bring to you the top headlines on various newspapers across the country. My name is Rachel Abioye, and as you know, I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have Antonia Nwokolo.
Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. And I have Mr. Michael here.
Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning,
Good morning, Michael.
Okay, so let's go right into it. Like I told you, we're going to be touching various newspapers in Nigeria today. I'm going to be starting with the Guardian newspaper. And on the Guardian newspaper this morning says 78,446 inmates in their strength over 750 naira daily feeding cost. And as you can see on that newspaper, you see the analysis they made there. As you can see, 800 naira going to dogs, going to security dogs. That's in the budget. And we have 178 females, here, and also 76,670 males in prison. 76,670 males, 176 females, and 3,271 awaiting trial on death row nationwide, as you can see on the Guardian newspaper this morning. You can find that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Still on the Guardian newspaper says Yaba Psychiatric Hospital records 100% admission spike, says certified medical director. You can find that on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. This morning, still on the Guardian, says Tinubu slashes fare by 50% for travelers during Yuletide. We're going to be talking about this on our big story, so just sit tight and wait for that story. You can find that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And just before I hand over to Antonia, says Akpabio swells in Lalong into 10 Senate, declares Umahi Gideon's seat vacant. That can be seen, says news page 29 on the Guardian newspaper. So sit tight as we bring you other headlines from other newspapers. Yeah, Antonia?
So on the Daily Trust newspaper, Nigeria's debt now 87.9 trillion naira, says the Debt Management Office Nigeria. Also, another story there is that pro-Wike lawmakers withdraw impeachment notice against Fubara. You can find that on page 11 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Federal government vows to prosecute kidney traffickers. You can find that on page 8 of the Daily Trust newspapers. And finally, on the Daily Trust, Media Trust honors 27 staff for integrity, excellence, creativity, and long service as Bono Government Zenith Bank bag Customer Loyalty Awards. You can find that on page 15, 14, 11, and 12 of the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, thank you, Antonia. So over to you, Michael.
Yeah, from the Nation newspaper this morning, has Yuletide. A federal government offers free train ride to travelers as bus passengers get 50% reduction. That is the big story coming from the Nation newspaper. Also has it that Rivers G27 withdraws sack notice to Fubara. You can find that on page 3. That is regarding the crisis still on Rivers State that is yet to fully be resolved. Tinubu asks Senate to clear 11 justices for Supreme Court as Nigerian equities market value hit 40 trillion naira. You can find that on page 5 of the Nation newspaper. I think that's the much story. You can ask the vendors so that you can get more details from the Nation newspaper this morning.
Okay, thank you, Michael. So let's go to the Punch newspaper quickly before we go to our big story. On the Punch newspaper says federal government slashes interstate fares, Labour knocks government. And like I said earlier, we're going to be bringing this on our big story. It's all over the papers. So many thoughts, so many controversies. So just sit tight while we bring you the story. Still on the Punch newspaper, federal government cuts external borrowing debt soars to 88 trillion naira. On the Punch still says reps probe NMPCL JV deals $60 billion revenue loss. And lastly, the last story I'll be taking, Army retires 113 generals, pledges support for democracy. And this is what we're going to, close the curtain on our newspaper review this morning. After this break, we're going to be bringing you the big story, and like I said, we're going to be talking about the interstate travels, which the government, slashed the prices. So just stay there while we bring you this big story after this break.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back. It's good to have you seated there and listening to us this morning. I'm still Rachel Abiori, and this is the Outnumbered Crew. So talking about federal government, slashing interstate fares, and like I said, Labour knock government. Why? Because they feel this move by the government is totally wrong on all sides. The federal government, has announced a 50% reduction in transportation costs along 22 interstate routes during the Yuletide season. The Inter-Ministerial Committee on Presidential Intervention, chaired by the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Oweleketv, disclosed this at a briefing in Abuja. The first subsidy implemented by the National Union of Road Transport Workers will commence today, Thursday. President Bola Tinubu directed that train services offer free rides from today until January 4th, 2024. Well, Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress faulted the initiative, describing the federal government as confused. According to them, slashing interstate transport prices can lead to a crash in economic growth. Why not simply announce a slash in the pump price of petrol, which has been responsible for the crisis Nigeria has been in since, for a very long time? Now, when I saw this story, this was my exact thought. Why slash transportation fares? Okay, so how long is this going to continue? This is Christmas coming. We're going to still have Salah. Another Christmas will come. Another Salah will come. Will you keep slashing transportation prices? And that was my exact thought. And so when I saw Labour coming to say, federal government, you people are confused. Well, I don't want to say you're confused, but that was the same thought I had. So Antonia, looking at this whole story, I heard you. Yes, I heard when. But let's not bring. Yes, when they talked about we talked about the free trade. I heard when you said and so what? Yeah. Now looking at the free transportation and looking at what government said, that's like a strong, point to me. What are your thoughts? What do you think about this whole thing?
So I think basically it's a case of misplaced priorities. We have so many problems in Nigeria that the government needs to focus on. At this critical time, we have the cash crunch that is steaming up day in, day out. We have so many problems. And now you come up to say a 50% reduction in bus fares and free train rides. It's more like you're not seeing what Nigerians are seeing. You're not focusing on the problem at hand. So now, is fair price the problem? That is not the problem. The main issue is tackling the fuel pump price. That is the main issue that they ought to tackle. So people can get fuel. Okay, why will I travel home if I don't have food to eat? Why will I travel home if the insecurity is still there? Let's not even go to that part now, because now everybody's going to travel because they had free train ride. Yeah. What about the insecurity? Would it not be on the rise? What security measures have you put in place to make sure that as Nigerians are traveling home for the festive period, their safety is guaranteed? What measures have you put in place? And now you see that some of these companies, these luxurious bus companies and the NRC, the staff might want to use this as a means to hijack, extort money from people. Do you understand? So you can go there, yes, it's free, but is it really free? When I go there, you might be asked to pay stipends and like, okay, you don't want to pay. If you're not going to pay, you're not going to get tickets. That kind of situation. So truly, I feel this is not what Nigeria should be focusing on at this time.
So you agree with NLC when they said the government is confused?
They're absolutely confused.
Okay, so Michael, I want us to talk about the issue of subsidy. Now, the Nigerian government took away fuel subsidy, and then now they are bringing transportation subsidy. My first question is this. Let's look at the costs. The whole ₦1 trillion. They said the reason why they are removing fuel subsidy is because they want to put that money into something else, into hospitals, road constructions and so many other things. That's what the federal government said. Now you're bringing in transportation subsidy. Are you not spending that exact same money you've removed? It's not like just interchanging things. And now I want to ask you, in your thoughts, do you think the federal government they're only looking for ways to, continue the normal usual thing they do, talking about siphoning of money? What are your thoughts?
It is sad that President Bola Tinubu is taking Nigerians for granted. From the first day he came into office, no consultations with the necessary stakeholders, subsidy gone. That is the effect you're having today. Some people are saying to run subsidy is not bad. But there are things that would have been done, there are negotiations that would have taken place. There are things that, generally would have been considered before giving subsidy removal. You just wake up on your swearing in there, you declare subsidy gone, without considering the plight of Nigerians, without looking at things, without fixing our agriculture, without making sure that there's food sufficiency and all of that. These are the situations that we are having. And now yesterday, the same panel, the same government are saying, transportation for Utah season, slash for 50%. Without consulting the necessary stakeholders again. Do we see meeting with the Nigerian Union of Transport? Do we see meeting with the companies, private companies, holders? We are talking of people that are into practicing of these transportations are private individuals. People are no more using government vehicles. In fact, the government vehicles are not reliable. How many government vehicles have been hijacked by security or by kidnappers on the road? So people get to rely on these private owners, and now the government wake up without taking consideration, without negotiating with them. And Nigerians will not take this thing serious. That's the truth. Go to the park today. I was speaking with someone as I was coming. He said, it's still the same. Yes, because these guys will not get to take you serious.
But Michael, you're talking about having a meeting with stakeholders and all. And you mentioned the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers and some other stakeholders. Don't you think these stakeholders, these so-called stakeholders, are also compromised? Don't you think it's an arrangement, it's an agreement?
We go to a point where we just want things to be done. We just want help. Nigerians are struggling for help. So we are in a situation where we are not even finding our right again. We are just seeing how we can be privileged to get some things, subsidy removal. A subsidy was just a normal thing that any Nigerian was able to afford. That was a common thing that reached every Nigerian when food was sold at 180 and 190. That was the only privilege a Nigerian could say, okay, this is what I'm getting. So removing it, you stretch out Nigerians. So Nigerians are struggling for help. A lot of people want to travel. But you want to tell me that I want to go to the south side, I need to pay 30,000 naira. Like, it's not even the minimum wage. How many people can afford that? So the point is, the stakeholders would have been negotiated with. Let it be that this thing is well arranged. We just want an proper arrangement thing. The intervention might not make sense. The intervention might be a scam, but we just want it to be that things are rightly done, that people who are trying to use this, people that want to travel, I don't even have money to travel, that people that want to travel can even use the traveling successfully. Not going to the park, like if I want to go tomorrow, based on the fact that I've read that government have slide 50%, I'm getting to the park, I'm told to see 30, I'm frustrated.
Honestly.
That's just the situation. But I'm just rushing to the park.
Do you even know the thoughts why you were speaking? Now we're talking about slashing it by 50%. So imagine transport was maybe 30,000 naira before. Now it's 15,000 naira. Do Nigerians even have that 15,000 naira to travel? Now to and fro you have to hold like 30,000 naira. When there was a time in Nigeria when with 5,000 naira you can travel, even less than you can travel. But now you're slashing by 50%, which means I even know that Nigerians are suffering and they know how much you have to pay to travel. 15,000 naira to go and then coming back another 15,000 naira. Now, like Anthony has said, I think the government are actually confused. Confused because my own question is this: how long? We have other celebrations coming. Are you saying Easter period now? You're going to also bring this transportation? Yes.
But I think yesterday the Port Harcourt refineries have started working.
Yeah,
so we want to believe that, because the minister or the NPCL boss that came out to say that, refinery will work. Port Harcourt will work by December 2024, January, I think, Warri and all of that. So we feel if they're going in that direction, if they get to fix our refinery so we can begin to produce, we feel by next year this can be work. Let's just give up.
I hope so. And lastly, this is another thing that came to my head. Okay. Now, when this whole transportation subsidy thing came through, we started seeing, people packing their bags. I want to travel because train is free. And then I was now saying, you see, we Nigerians are the problem of ourselves. Now we're talking about, there was a time I was saying, this election period, or even if it's not election, something comes up. And the government said, okay, want to give Nigerians 1 bag of rice and 10,000 naira. They will collect it with their full chests. And then they'll forget every other problem they have. Now they've talked about transportation subsidy. People will they will just totally forget about all of the other problems in Nigeria and government, they work. And that is the only thing that will come to people's head.
I think it's the case of where we as humans value instant gratification.
Exactly.
We want something that satisfies us now. And we don't put into cognizance the long-term effect. So now you've accepted this free train rights and everything. What about when we come back in January?
Yeah, you continue suffering.
The economic situation of Nigeria improve, and now the cost that this free 50% slash is going to incur in Nigeria, you're not being open about it. You're not being explicit to say this is what it will take the government so amount.
They didn't mention that.
They did not mention. It's just vague. It's just there. You're just telling us 50% slash. How are you compensating the road transport workers? Because this festive period is when they make the bulk of their money, because they know a lot of people are traveling. They want to be with their families and loved ones. So how are you compensating the road transport workers? And when we come back in January, is this a guarantee that our economic situation will be better? Is this a guarantee that the fuel situation in Nigeria will be a lot better than it is now? No. It's a lot of there are a lot of aspects to consider when you make decisions like this. You don't just wake up in the morning and feel that let me do something that will make them happy and bam, 50%
like children, when you want to give them sweets, you don't want them to cry. Take sweet, or they'll put the sweet in your mouth. And now, don't be surprised if by January they come back to say, this transportation subsidy will spend so $1 trillion.
And you know our debt has increased to 87.9 trillion.
And
so how much more when we go
which
back
money are we even using? In fact, it's a whole lot. Which money is the government using right now for this transportation subsidy? Where is the money coming out from? Is it from the debt that we keep borrowing and borrowing? From where exactly? And these are our thoughts. What do you think? Are you also happy that there's now transportation subsidy for Christmas, not for a long term? Are you happy? Or do you think the government is confused, just like any else said? What are your thoughts? Please drop your comments on our comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. My name is Rachel Abioye, and I've been here with Antonia and Michael. Thank you for coming on the show, Michael and Antonia.
Thank you so much.
And please join us again tomorrow. Merry Christmas in advance. See you again.